Hello, welcome to another episode of Blind Hope with Rich. You guessed it, I'm Rich. Only in name, though, only in name. Anyways, it's been a couple weeks since I posted something. I'm sorry I haven't posted something sooner. Life on life's terms has gotten really busy lately. Really busy. Um, Not bad things. Yeah, life has been busy between work and uh, my dad. He had his 81st birthday. So happy for him. Um, Got to spend some time with the folks up where they live and gone to a camp out. I just got back from one camp out this weekend. That was a 4-day camp out. And then last weekend, there was another 4-day camp out that I went to. So I am stocked up on some recovery campouts. I tell you what, it feels good. You know, I know it sounds kind of cheesy, probably, but it does. It really feels good because I'm a part of, you know, a part of a group of people, and they actually sincerely care about me. You know, they're out there to help me move forward in my life. You know, and if I can help them in any way, I have no qualms about volunteering and stepping up. You know, my life today is full of blessings. You know, I sometimes find challenges that aren't the most enjoyable. But then once I get through them, I'm like, yes, got that done, and it feels pretty good, when I can work through the challenges and not let the challenges work me, you know. That's something that, it's so important to keep in mind that we can't let the challenges that life throws at us ruin each and every day of our lives. I've worked with some people that are every time they come in, man, they've had such a rough week. It's just been so rough, and it's just been a bad week. And I'm just like, well, break it down for me. Tell me, why is it so bad? You know, and I tell them, on a scale of 1 to 10, one being, you know, just horrible, and 10 being awesome. And they'll be like, oh, it was about a 5, maybe a 4, and I'm like, really? So why weren't you a 3? And they look at me and they ask, what? And I was like, well, you were up to a 4 or 5. Why weren't you down to a 3? I mean, if it was so bad, what made it, not a 3? And it makes them stop and think, you know, well, what the hell? And they really do it, because usually you hear people ask, well, what can I do to help you make it a more like a 7 or an 8? I don't ask that. You know, that's something that each person I work with has to find within themselves. What brings them happiness? What brings them joy? What is entertaining to them? What it makes them have a smile on their face? What makes them feel happy? You know, and the reality is, we sometimes it's just a bad freaking day, but you know it's a bad day. Does that mean I have to be miserable? I have to be bummed out. I have to be angry. I have to be agitated at everybody around me? No. It means I can move on, or I can hit the reset button, start my day over from right there and say, that's where that's going to end. And start right here and say, hey, this is the new start of the day. This is where we're picking up. This is where we're moving forward. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. And that's it. I mean, easy peasy. We're not going to make this I've learned through a lot of banging my head against the wall that I get to choose if I'm going to get overwhelmed. If I'm going to, because I've learned the tools I need. Not everybody has got the tools yet. you know. But I've gotten these tools that help me not to get overwhelmed, help me not to get so stressed out, not to send my anxiety through the roof, not to make me feel depressed and feel like things are hopeless. I can take and use these tools that I've learned. I can prioritize my stuff. I can find out what is going to be important, what I need to accomplish. What can I ask, help, you know, with getting something done, because I don't have to do everything by myself. Some of us are some independent, stubborn people, and we want to work it on our own. We want to get this on our own. We want to learn how to live our lives on our own. And I think there was a time in my life I felt that way. Now, I don't want to live my life like that. I want to be a part of. I love having a wife, and I never thought I would. Never thought I would have one. Waited until I was 49 years old, and then all of a sudden, bam! My higher power put the person in my life, and I was like, "Wow, this works." We click, you know, on multiple fronts. I mean, we aren't on board with each other 100%. But that's okay. We don't have to be in agreement on everything. I mean, I think that might cause more problems than anything if we agreed on everything and we didn't have our own opinions. That we do, you know. And life today, it's all about that. I choose today. You know, our higher power gives us that freedom of choice. Now, I can choose to be happy. I can choose to be depressed. I can choose to break the law. I can choose to help somebody out that's hurting, help somebody out that's sad. I can choose to pick up the phone and call my folks and say, "Hey, how's your day been?" Well, I just wanted to call and see how you are, tell you good night. You know, I can choose and choose and choose and choose and choose. There ain't nobody that's going to force me to do something if I'm not ready to do it. That's where I've gotten in my life in realizing that I have that freedom today. If I don't like it, I can walk away from it. I don't have to just keep tolerating and tolerating and feeling like I'm getting beat down day after day by relationships, by work, by physical or mental or emotional means. I don't have to have all those feelings. Today, I can choose how I'm going to feel. Well, mentally, I can choose how I'm going to feel. I don't know. I felt sometimes when I first lost my vision that, man, I don't know if I was choosing it or if I was just having to walk through it, but I had some really tough spots, a lot of depression, a lot of tears, but, that was then. Today, shoot, get back from a 4-day camp out, my second weekend in a row of 4-day campouts. And you know what? It felt amazing. You know, I'll tell you what it was like. Thursday we were out there, and it was just a glorious night. Good weather. We were sitting in the shade. We were all just sitting around talking and having a good time, starting to catch up with, what's going on with each other and stuff. And then we called it a night. We got some sleep, and then bam, we were on it. Next day we were out chatting, enjoying things. We had some coffee, some breakfast. Good times. And then Friday night we had a big get together. What is it? There was 7 of us. Usually there's 9 or 10, but there was 7 of us this go round. One of my best friends, him and his wife, now that they're both retired, they're doing their tour of the United States. Well, sort of. They're going West Coast. They've been now, and they've gone to visit the grandkids and spent time with them and hung out there, and drove down the coast and back up, and then headed back here, and they attended a camp out not this weekend because I'm recording this on Sunday, the 5th of July, and um, a week ago, um, this friend and his wife were at the 4-day camp out that I was at then. But they left straight from the camp out, and now they're on their way to New York. And actually, I talked to my friend earlier today, and he said they were just pulling into Buffalo, and I was just like, "Dang, you're all the way up to New York already?" And I realized it's been a week to the day, and I'm like, "Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that works." And they're retired. They're enjoying their lives, just taking their time. Now they're going to see the grandkids over on the East Coast. And then beginning of August they'll be back here. And doing some things around here, and then um, come. I'm not sure even what the day is, but they're going to head back out towards the East Coast. But this time, instead of going up to the northern part, they're going a little farther down to the south, and just doing some, enjoying some stuff in, I think, Nashville and over in Georgia and maybe Kentucky. I don't but they're enjoying their retirement. And I love giving them a call and listening to what they have to say because it just brings me joy to know that friends that I am really, really close to, I mean, hold a place in my heart for real, that they're enjoying their life, that they're getting to enjoy visits with their grandkids, that they're getting to do all these things now because they've worked their years, they put their time in at the jobs, and now they got the retirement, the Social Security, and they got a freaking it's called a leprechaun. It's a motorhome, and they got a car trailer that has their little Toyota Camry on the back, and so they're driving around. They set up camp somewhere and pull the Toyota Camry off the trailer, and off they go. And they're having a blast. And I'm just like, that's what I want for my future. I don't know if I'll get it or not. I can't plan the outcome because between now and the time I get to retirement, if I make it to retirement, yeah, it's hard to say what direction my life's going to go, but it's okay because like I've said in many of my past videos, it's all about the moment. Right now, in this moment, I'll tell you, I'll be honest, I feel exhausted. Exhausted. It's been a very hot and humid day, and we had to hook onto the camper and get it all attached and get things set up, inside, get those all, things in place so that they won't break or anything when we're towing down the road. So we did that, and then we stopped in a town that we often frequent, and when we're there, then we stopped and gone into Walmart and got some groceries and stuff, and then we went to a truck wash. It's semi trucks. They uh they they go in there, and you pay a certain amount of money, and you get your vehicle power washed. Well, we had, strangely enough, some mold growing on the front of our camper. And I mean, I can't see it, but I can only imagine how tacky that has to look. Because we got a nice camper. I mean, it's not anything, Taj Mahal kind of thing, but it's a nice camper. And so we stopped at this truck wash. It cost us a little bit of money, but they washed the pickup truck, they washed the camper, and then they, clean the underbody. And my wife, we got home and my wife looked at it and she was just so happy. All the mold was gone. The we have the outside of our camper is fiberglass and it's thick, and it it worked really good, but it lost some of its clean appearance after a couple of years. The dust and everything else is attached to it, and it needed a good power washing, and it got it. So yeah, unfortunately, we don't have another camp out until I think the end of September. We got some other activities going on. Um, my wife's nephew, he's getting married in a couple weeks. We got a business meeting next weekend on Sunday, and then the Friday after that is the wedding, and then the weekend after that, the oldest stepdaughter is coming with the grandkids, and they'll be here, stay, Saturday, get there Saturday, and head home on Sunday, and it'll be all good, and that you know, makes my wife very happy because she wants to see the grandkids. She doesn't feel like she ever gets to see them, so we're going to make sure she's going to get to see her grandkids, and we're going to have a good time with it. You know, eat some food, and sit around, and laugh and play with the grandkids, and do all sorts of things. And I think it'll be a great time. You know? And the month of August is going to be a beautiful thing. Well, let me back up a little. End of July, beginning of August, last 2 days of July and first two of August, we'll be at the Miss Kansas pageant because my daughter is in the pageant. And I'm so excited for her. I hope it makes her, even if she doesn't win, I hope she finds and recognizes she made it all the way into the Miss Kansas pageant. It isn't, it's something that takes some work, some effort, and she put it in the footwork and she's done it. And I am so totally proud of that young lady. She's just awesome, you know. And so we got that at the end of July, beginning of August, and then in August, got a couple of celebrations. Don't have any plans really to go anywhere, and that's good because I'm ready for a little breather by then. Come, come the in the beginning of August, I'll be ready for a breather. But I think we do have one plan. The first weekend or second weekend of August, we're going to go spend a night down in uh, Wichita, where my daughter and the stepdaughter and my wife's sister and everybody live, and we're gonna hotel room for the night, and we're gonna socialize with everybody, and then we're gonna head back and have a little time to maybe me and her have a dinner and get some sleep. But other than that, then middle of August, I got I is my clean date from alcohol and other drugs, and I will have 21 years clean. I never even thought I would live to be the age I am, let alone have this much time clean. You know, and then towards the end of August is my uh, regular birthday. You when I was born, and I'll be turning 54, and that's okay. I would rather not, but that's okay because I'm still walking and talking and doing stuff. Yeah, I got a little body ache here and there. Not bad, not bad. And now that I'm going to start trying to eat a little healthier, do some better things for my body, I'm going to make it happen. Going to get in some shape. I got, for Father's Day, I got this adjustable barbell. You set it in this rack, and you can turn the dial, which is the handle. turn the handle, and it locks different weight settings. I can do my curls. I can do my overhead lifts. I can do my arms out. I can do a bench press, an incline press. I can do whatever I need to with this thing. And I can't be happier. And it's going to help my upper body. And then hopefully I'm going to improve my eating habits and lose some of this belly. I got to get my wife on board to help me with that. I hope she joins me, but that's up to her. She has to choose to do that. Me, I need to do that because I'm just not comfortable with the weight that's on me. I think I'd have more energy, and more positivity if I felt physically better than what I feel now. And like I said, I got a little bit of pain here and there, and it might, losing weight might help lessen the pain that I have in my back. Today is just, I don't know. Didn't really, when I thought about, I or decided I wanted to do this video today, I was like, what am I going to talk about? What's on my mind? And I was like, there's a lot on my mind because I have been given so many blessings because I have decided to live my life this way, in this certain manner. And it has given me the freedom to do so many other things. You know what? Here is something outstanding. I can't believe that I'm getting to do this. So me and my wife have been talking about, some of the friends that we were with this past weekend. They're going on this thing called the Jimmy K Cruise, and it's a recovery cruise. You know, it leaves out of Florida. Can't remember exactly where because I haven't. I We just now got into this, and we were talking about it. And leaves out of Florida and goes down to Dominican Republic into the Bahamas, and then back up to Florida. And I'm just like, man, how exciting is this? It just is exciting to me to think of getting to do this. Never been on a cruise, neither has my wife. And we just decided, this over the weekend when we're out with all our friends and having all this fun and feeling so good, we're like, we could do this. And now we're doing it. We paid the registration to it's a convention, is what it is for recovery. It just happens to be on a freaking cruise ship. And so we're doing that. And then on top of it, so we paid the registration, for the convention. And then we put the down payment down on the balcony room that we wanted. And this balcony room, I mean, it's a regular sized room, um, but it has doors that open up, and there's two chairs and a table out there, and you can go out on this balcony and sit and have coffee. You can have them bring you breakfast, bring you coffee. You can have, whatever. You can just sit out there. And I'm just thinking, I can't see, anything. And I'm like, what is that going to be like for me? What is that going to be like? Well, you're not going to know unless you give it a try. You know, there was a motivational quote, you never know until, what it's going to be until you take that first step. If you don't take that step, man, you're not going to know. I have these thoughts in my head of it. I'm going to think, and I'll be sitting there with my wife enjoying a cup of coffee in the morning, and I'll be able to hear the ocean. I'll be able to feel the sunlight on me. I'll be able to hear the birds that in the middle of Kansas, you won't hear the birds that you hear down in the ocean. You know, and I'll be able to get off the boat, go on some excursions, check out. There's this feed the monkey thing that I think I'm going to do, and there's a bunch of other things. You can swim in a waterfall, and maybe swim with the dolphins, and I really want to swim with dolphins. zip lining. I mean, there's all sorts of things. And I'm just like, I get to do all this stuff. And I get to have my friends around me when I do this stuff. I'm just like, let's do this. And so we go and leave town on a camp out, and we come back booked for a cruise. And we still got to pay for the rest of it. We just put the deposit down, so we got our stuff reserved. We're not we'll lose out on anything, and that is so just outstanding. Because if I was living the way I used to, and I'm feeling the depression, feeling the poor me, or using the drugs or whatever, I wouldn't have the blessings that I'm getting. You know, it's just it's so exciting, and I'm looking so forward to these things. Here in October, you know, my wife and I are going to Orlando to Universal Studios for our 5-year wedding anniversary. Good Lord, I can't believe the woman has put up with me for 5 years. I'm totally blessed, because she is a fabulous lady, and it's just life is treating me so good. And yeah, just because I have some physical pain, that's okay. I bet if I start exercising and doing what they say, that I'm going to get better and that pain is going to get less. And I'm going to be all sorts of, enjoying my life. You know, there's just so much good that I get to experience today. It's, I can't describe it. All I can tell you guys is if you want something and you want to live a certain way and you're not getting in the direction you want to go, step back and look and say, what am I doing wrong? Yeah, so and so has got this and is doing this. I want to be able to do that too. I mean, that's what it is for me. I didn't know about this cruise or anything until just recently. I mean, my wife said, she talked to me about it, months ago, and I was like, yeah, slept since then. I didn't remember it. Now it's on the forefront of my mind, and it's there. It's going. We're going. It's going down. But I don't know. If you don't like what you're doing, or you don't like what you're getting, then you need to clearly make a change. Do something different. You know, what is so and so doing that is making it work for them so much? You know, what are they doing? Some people say they go to recovery meetings. Some people say it's going to church. Some people it is spending time with the family. Some people say it is being of service to others. Something, it's just certain things, you do to get what you're wanting. For me, I'm blessed in a couple of ways because, yeah, I might not have vision, but as I've been talking this whole time, you have got to have realized I ain't letting it stop me from doing things in life. I'm still going forward, and I'm still going to have me some fun, because if I make it to retirement and I get to retire fully, and oh man, I can't even imagine the amount of fun I am going to have. It's going to be outstanding, to say the least. Just outstanding, and I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna make it happen. You know, I am going to keep enjoying my life. You know, and I want you guys out there figure out what it is. If I can find ways to enjoy my life, even with the physical, emotional, mental challenges that I experience, and I'm not on all these medications to take care of all these things. I take a blood pressure pill, a cholesterol pill, a stomach pill. You know, everything else I probably could without. Because really, about the only other thing I take are two different sleeping pills. And I bet I could get myself into meditation and get the right music. And I bet I could put myself right to sleep if I choose. There we go. We're back to that choosing thing again. Now, what are you going to choose to do today? What are you going to choose to do tonight? What are it's all about choices. You know, if you can make plans all day long, but I'm going to tell you now, don't plan the outcome because you will get a twist somewhere in your plan or a big speed bump, and it ain't going to have the outcome that you want. It'll be something different. It might not be, what you planned the outcome to be. Maybe it's not going to be a bad outcome. Maybe it's going to be a difficult outcome, but, it's going to be what it's going to be. It's how you embrace it, how you face it, accept it, you know, and go on with it. You know, that's where it's at. Feel what you need and keep moving forward. I've heard, in the past few weeks, some people I know, they've had loved ones that have passed away, and it makes my heart sad. And my love and prayers go out to them, but what can I do? I can be there for them. That's about all I can do. I can check on them and see how they're doing, you know. See, hey, if you want to talk, I'm not too bad at doing that whole listening thing, and see how they take it. Hopefully it'll be good, and it'll lift them up because you know that's why I do these videos. I mean, like I said, I'm sorry I didn't close the last two weeks. It would have been a third week if I missed it today, but I'm back in, and hopefully I'll get them going again. It just I need to hear some feedback from y'all. If you guys are first seeing this for the first time, welcome. You if you can, if you find an interest in this or want to hear more, you know, like and subscribe. I take all that I can get. I appreciate it. Now, I don't have a big following, and it's not really about the following. I'm not looking to try and make millions of dollars. I got a decent paying job. I don't need this for money. I'm doing it to try and connect with other people and help them find the path that brings them joy. You know, and if people would be so kind, drop me a comment. About what you'd like to hear, or what kind of challenges you've been experiencing. And if you have some suggestions, give me those. I'm open to that kind of stuff. I mean, please be respectful. And if there's something that's you're not liking, please, respectfully, let me know what it is. I am completely open to hearing about, what I can do to make something improve these videos so that, I can get more out there to all of you, you know. And for all you women and any of you guys, because some of the guys out there do this too, any of you all that are into makeup, please check out my wife's YouTube channel. It's called Just Another Beauty Guru. And I think you have to put in the at symbol at the beginning, then Just Another Beauty Guru. I don't know. I'm not a YouTube, wizard, but I know that that's her YouTube channel, and she does. I remember before I lost my vision, how amazing she does her makeup. She can come up with some of the most amazing blending of colors, designs, and she tests out new products and all the stuff all the time. So if people want to hear it, get on there, check it out. If you like it, subscribe to her channel. She's always, wanting to know that more people are, you know, liking and if you don't want to have to subscribe if you don't want to, but if you do, hey, that's awesome also. So, anyways, I want I want to say Happy 4th of July. I hope everybody had a good one. I want to say thank you for listening to me today. And I hope that you all have a blessed week coming up. Hope you choose to be happy. I hope you choose not to let grumbly people drag you down. Be happy with what you got and where you are in life. And if, you want to get somewhere else, sit down and make a plan. You know, if you see somebody that's doing something you really dig, ask them. So how did you get to where you're able to do this? They'll explain it, I bet. And then you can figure out how you can start that process that they have been doing to get them where they are. You know, all sorts of options, people. Don't limit yourself or be closed minded. Be open minded and willing to go for it. You can do this. You can make your life good. Um, it's all what you want to do. But hey, I thank you all for listening to me today. You all have yourself a fabulous uh, upcoming week, and I will check you all next week. Later.